Hi, stargazing is one of my hobbies, and now I'm living in North London where I have no much time to visit places with dark skies. It turns out though that even in the city you can still see a lot of interesting objects in the night sky. In this video, I'm sharing my October and early November stargazing guide, which you might find useful if, like me, you are interested in learning one or two things about the night sky. In this video, I will talk about how to find the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, Polaris, and Cassiopeia in the northern sky. I will also talk about how to find Capella, Auriga, and Pleiades in the eastern sky. I will then end up talking about how to find Jupiter, Saturn, and the Summer Triangle in the southern sky. Please note that this guide's reference to Jupiter and Saturn is only relevant for October 2021 because the planets keep moving relative to each other and to the stars. That is why they were referred to by the ancient astronomers as wandering stars. This guide shows the approximate position of objects in the night sky between 9 to 10 p.m. in the northern hemisphere in October and early November. You should also be able to use it before and after this time. You only need to know that the objects in the sky will be shifted compared to the illustrations used here. Throughout this guide, I have used Stellarium Web to generate illustrations. Stellarium is an app that I have found to be most helpful, accessible, and reliable for stargazing. The web version is accessible through this link. I'm using red font color so that if you use this guide outdoors, it does not impair your ability to see. Before proceeding, let me share with you what works for me. To find an object in the sky, I need to pick a starting point. Once I have picked the starting point, I draw patterns relative to that starting point to identify other objects. The patterns do not have to follow the conventional constellations, so I will use this simple approach in this guide. Now, let's begin with the northern sky. Here is my pick for objects in the northern sky: the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, and Cassiopeia. The Big Dipper first. This asterism is probably the easiest one to find in the northern sky in October. First, look north for stars that are noticeably brighter. You should be able to easily see these three stars. To complete the Big Dipper shape, draw a line beginning from the star on the left towards right, connecting the three stars like this. Then proceed to a fainter star which can barely be seen in the urban sky like this. From here you can complete the shape of the Big Dipper like this: down, right, up, and then left. That completes the Big Dipper. Now we are ready to proceed to find the Little Dipper. From the last star on the right end of the Big Dipper, extend the line upwards until it hits the bright star above like this. This star is Polaris. It is a very interesting star because it stays roughly at the same position all night. It behaves this way because it is located in a position that is very near the Earth's celestial pole. The stars that form the Little Dipper are much fainter than those forming the Big Dipper, but it is possible to trace them. Try to draw it like this. Beginning from Polaris, you should be able to trace these three faint stars, then form the scoop of the Dipper like this. Now we can try to find Cassiopeia. From Polaris to Cassiopeia, look further up and slightly to the right. The line from Polaris to the middle star in Cassiopeia constellation runs like this. From this star, you can trace the rest of stars in the constellation like this. The lines connecting the stars in Cassiopeia constellation will look like the number 3. Note that since Cassiopeia is almost overhead, you can also see it if you stand looking east and raise your eyes up towards overhead and slightly to the left. Now let us turn to the eastern sky. Here we are going to find part of Auriga, Capella, and Pleiades. Looking up east, slightly to the left, northeastern direction so to speak, you should be able to see a bright star that stands out from the rest. That is Capella or Alpha Auriga. Capella is the brightest star in that direction. To confirm that what you're seeing is Capella, you need to draw some patterns. One way is to draw a line upwards and slightly to the right, like this, to connect with Cassiopeia, like this. There are several bright stars in that region which you can easily connect with patterns like this, and this, and this. Here are the names of some of the stars we have just connected with lines. Perhaps one of the most interesting things in the eastern direction is to find the Pleiades. See if you can find a fuzzy patch of light that you can connect with Capella and Merfolk to form a triangle like this. The patch at the end is Pleiades, the seven sisters. This is one of the night sky objects that I have wondered about since I was a small child. To the lower side of Capella are the stars forming the constellation Auriga. You can trace them this way to form a pentagon shape. This is one part of Auriga. The rest of stars in this constellation are to the lower right side. Let us now move to the southern sky. Looking south, we have special advantage this year's October. Jupiter is the brightest object in the southern sky besides Moon for some days. To the right lower side of Jupiter is the next brightest object, which is Saturn. This is the easiest point to start finding other stars in the southern sky. From Jupiter and Saturn, try to trace an inverted L shape upwards like this until you hit the next bright star. That is Altair. Continue to trace upwards until you hit another bright star like this. This is almost overhead to the right, and it is called Vega. Now trace leftward to the next bright star like this. This is Deneb. From there you can now trace back to the star in the middle. You will end up with an upside down triangle like this. This is the Summer Triangle. One interesting thing worth mentioning here is that Deneb is the farthest star that is sufficiently bright to be seen with an aided eye, even in the city sky. This means that Deneb is a very large and bright star. It is currently estimated to be around 1,500 light years away. Altair and Vega are much closer. So, what have we seen in this video? We have seen the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, and the Cassiopeia in the northern sky. In the eastern sky we have seen the star Capella, part of the constellation Auriga, and the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. In the southern sky we have seen the planets Jupiter and Saturn. Here we should be reminded that these planets appear in the southern sky this way in October 2021. Next October they will have moved noticeably relative to each other and relative to the stars. We have also seen in the southern sky the asterism Summer Triangle, which is made up of the three bright stars, Altair, Vega, and Deneb. That is the end of our October 2021 brief tour of the night sky in the northern hemisphere. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.